Joy that gives joy to your life. If you're new here, please click the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, for today's video, I will be demonstrating 5 literary criticism of my chosen movie, Wonder Woman. The 5 literary criticism involved in the movie are order response, Mimetic theory, Feminism theory, Historicism theory, and the last is New Historicism. But before we further start to the 5 criticisms in the movie entitled Wonder Woman, let me first tell you about the summary of the movie. Before she was Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, she was Diana, Princess of the Amazons, trained to be an unconquerable warrior. During her final training test with her aunt Antiope, Diana reveals her godlike powers, raised a sheltered island paradise. Diana meets an American pilot, Chris Pine, who tells about massive conflict that's raging in the outside world. Convinced that she can stop the threat, Diana leaves her home for the first time. They leave the island and sail to London. Diana leaves her normal world for the hideous adventure world of War I. So, fighting alongside men in a war II and all wars, she finally discovers her full powers and true destiny. Now, let's move on to the reader response theory of criticism. So, Wonder Woman has always been the best movies that lean into the feminist ethos at core. It is about a power fantasy that privileges the interiority and desires of women. But film rarely has made room for the fantasies of women on such a grand scale. And in comic adaptations, women can be tough, funny, and self-assured. But rarely are they the architects of their own destiny. Diana's face as she portrays Wonder Woman, her face is inquisitive, morose, and marked by fury. But more often than not, she wears a bright, open smile that carries the optimism and hope that is true to the character's long history, as well as a much-needed salve from what other blockbusters offer. In turn, Wonder Woman isn't just a good superhero film. It is a sincerely good film in which no qualifiers are needed. It's inspiring, evocative, and unfortunately, a bit infuriating for the chances it doesn't take. As a young girl, Diana enjoys the loving protection of the Amazons of Themyscira, a secluded island paradise created by the gods of Olympus. No Amazon is fiercer or more protective than her mother, Queen Hippolyta. But Diana longs to be trained in the art of war by her aunt Antiope, a stellar. She grows from a kind, young girl into an inquisitive, brave, young woman who never hesitates to help those in need. Even a man like Captain Steve Trevor, an endlessly charming who brings news of World War I when he crash lands on the island disrupting this all-female sanctuary, gets saved by her. Diana leaves behind the only life she's ever known. Heading to late 1910s London to stop the war she believes in is influenced by the god Ares. It's free of the Hellenic influence you'd expect from a movie that takes such inspiration from Greek myth, with the Amazons creating their home in a way that respects the lush nature around them, rather than destroying it. It isn't sterile either. The scenes set in Themyscira have a dazzling array of colors, including the gold of armor, the cerulean blue of the sea that surrounds them, warm creams and deep browns. Jenkins films many of these scenes in wide shot, revealing in the majestic nature of this culture. Similarly, the history of the Amazons, told in a dance bath, beautifully rendered backstory by Hippolyta, evokes a painterly quality reminiscent of Caravaggio. Having said that, while Wonder Woman has a lot to offer visually, what makes this film so captivating is Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. Gal Gadot wonderfully inhabits the mix of curiosity, sincerity, badassery, and compassion that has undergirded Wonder Woman since the beginning. So, there are particularly great scenes at the beginning, as Diana talks about men being unnecessary for female pleasure. Steve seems undone by her presence, which makes the development of their story authentic. Their chemistry is electrifying, making Wonder Woman a successful romance and superhero origin story set during one of the most brutal wars. Elsewhere, the supporting cast is uneven, but the actors are able to give these characters enough sincerity and wit to make their appearances memorable. While Wonder Woman is an overall light, humorous, and hopeful movie, it isn't afraid of touching on politics. The feminism of the film is light. It's seen in moments when characters of color comment on their station in life and Diana faces sexism from powerful men who doubt her intelligence. Of course, the feminism, charming performances, and delightful humor would be nothing without the direction, right? So, superhero films inherently carry the thrill of seeing these characters come to life and brandish great abilities. But far too often, the fight scenes are neither epic nor engaging. So often, they're flatly lit and unimaginatively framed extravagances of characters fighting in airplane hangars and other drab surroundings. But what makes Wonder Woman so blistering is Jenkins' distinctive gaze, particularly in the fight scenes. So, Wonder Woman is beautiful, kind-hearted, and buoyant in ways that make me eager to see it again. So, Jenkins and her collaborators have done what I thought was previously impossible. Created a Wonder Woman film that is inspiring, blistering, and compassionate in ways that honor what has made this character an icon. Now, let's proceed to the mimetic theory of criticism. So, the movie Wonder Woman, in which in her homeland, the island nation of Themyscira, her official title is Princess Diana of Themyscira. So Diana is a princess. So when blending into the society outside of her homeland, she sometimes adopts her civilian identity, Diana Prince. Wonder Woman's origin story, from Golden to Bronze Age, relates that she was sculpted from clay by her mother, Queen Hippolyta, and was given a life as an Amazon, along with superhuman powers as gifts by the Greek gods. So in the movie Wonder Woman, we can clearly see that Diana perhaps imitates the characteristic of her mother Hippolyta. So Hippolyta was a 10th queen of the Amazons of Themyscira. Hippolyta is well-versed in diplomacy, a fierce warrior, a benevolent monarch, and a heroine in her own right. So all girls in their place, because I think almost all people leave her, there are all girls, right? So they expected Diana was as good as her mother Hippolyta. With that, Diana was trying to prove herself that what her mother Hippolyta can do, she do as well. So at the end, though Diana leaves her home in Paradise Island, but still, she discovered new things. She perceives new discovery, and with that kind of discovery, she managed to level up her power and be strong and brave like her mother, Hippolyta. So, Wonder Woman rises above darker superhero films, but not violence itself. Wonder Woman delivers a true rarity in the world of blockbusters. An inspiring story without vulgarities, objectifying sexuality, or dehumanizing violence. The early fight scenes focus more on the agility of the Amazons warrior flipping off the horses in motion and whilst firing bows and arrows. There wasn't much humor in the story, but it wasn't overly dark either, like the previous DC and Marvel films, Guardians of the Galaxy being the light-hearted and hilarious exception. Being an origin story, the plot plods along for the first half of the movie, but the lengthy setup is necessary to establish the keystone of the movie, Diana's motivation for battle. Diana leaves the paradise of her all-female island not just to defeat a rival, exact vengeance, or prevent a global takeover. Overall, it was enjoyable and inspiring, and for good reason. It will likely be the biggest hit of the summer. A great deal more could be said about the film, but there's one potential critical nugget: Diana's motivation compared with the theories of René Girard. So the most enduring contribution of Girard's long career is his theory of mimetic desire. So in an overly simplified version of Girard's theory, all conflict is the result of desire by imitation. So Girard represents the Pascal mystery as the definitive defeat of the cycle of endless conflict, because Jesus refused to give into violence. This is Diana's stated goal on the outset of her journey, right? So she desires not just to win a war or defeat a foe, but to banish the true source of all conflict, which is incarnate in Ares. In the villain test, the protagonist has planned part of the movie. Ares states that there will never be an armistice, but rather endless war, which requires human sacrifice. So while the film understands the core mechanism of violence, Diana fails to resist engaging in it. Her conviction that Ares is influencing people who are basically good does not prevent her from killing dozens of Germans. So, violence is terrible adversary, especially since it always wins, wrote Gerard in his 2009 book, Battling to the End. So the only way to defeat violence is to refuse to participate in it. Non-violence, however, doesn't break box office records. So violence, retribution, and scapegoating are the oldest, most played out, and best-selling storylines in history. You would think we would get tired of their endless sequels. Now, let's move on to the most important: feminism theory of criticism. So in feminism approach, as what I've stated in the reader response theory, Wonder Woman has always been the best movies that lead into the feminist ethos at core. So with that, the woman considered as weak, but Diana, who portrays as Wonder Woman in the movie, shows opposition. She proves that women can lead, that they can handle in every situation, that they have a power of authority. So, Diana, who portrays Wonder Woman, is the right kind of feminist because she is strong in a kind, nurturing way. What? I find this civilizes not embodies our modern feminist icon. So here is my interpretation of the film. Wonder Woman manufactures a fossilized model of womanhood that civilizes its hero within the concept of regression. But Diana conforms to a bygone idea of femininity that situates women as a lack of the perfect man, less evolved in mind and body. This is clearest in comparison to her supposed male equal Superman, of whom she's a flawed reflection. Less athletic, less astute, less gifted, it reaffirms old-fashioned norms that even the idealized woman is less than the idealized man, civilizing her as inferior. The supreme mythological hero, Superman, draws a glorified muscular body with undeniable physical strength. Snyder's contemporary version, Man of Steel, is a good example, right? Clark bulging muscles, its terrifying 8-pack, and tree-trunk legs are the pinnacle of physical powers. Controversy: Diana athleticism is barely visible in her slender form, little muzzle and twiglet legs. Her superpowers are likewise unsuffocated. Agility, speed, and strength, a pitiful contrast to Clark, who's equipped with all the above plus super hearing, super breath, X-ray vision, flying, and widespread invulnerability to attack. This makes Diana a clear repression of Superman, for her physicality is that of an informed man, yet she is celebrated as our strong heroine. Who would you pick to protect you? It's a distressing classification that the ideal physically powerful woman cannot be as Herculean as a man, but must exist in his shadow, civilizing women as they outcast. This continues into Diana's psychological portrayal. Superman is a functional, experienced, hardened hero whose numerous depictions include emotional intuition, character, and battle success, each achieved independently. So Diana feels like a cheapened version. Instead of experience, she never works alone, relying on collaboration from fellow Amazonians or her band of merry men and male mentors to realize her full potential. Despite being a demigod who speaks every language, she requires Steve, her love interest, to coach her on basic human knowledge, social, conduct, marriage, and emotion. So this is glaringly different to Superman's dense knowledge and experience, civilizing Diana with lesser intelligence. So again, she's not hardened like Superman, but unable to have assertive confrontations, resorting to over-emotional phrases calmed by Steve's wise words. This is strikingly reminiscent of ancient portrayals that, in lacking a penis, women develop mental defects of hysteria, carving them as direct reductions of men. Can this really be our feminist icon? Well, I find her degraded to the position of colonial other, a socially constructed, non-essentialized term that continues to be produced and reassigned. This shifting category is applied to this white Hollywood character via her weak, passive, and ignorant personality. The civilizing project continues to Diana's hyper-feminization and sexualization also, reminiscent of the female. Other, who was similarly feminist and eroticized, yet redefined in this contemporary paradigm. So, despite the film's female direction, it's noticeably composed for the main spectator's fantasy, suggesting an acute internalized male gaze. A distinct example is the silencing of eroticism in favor of possessive pornographic tropes. Audre Lorde distinguishes eroticism as beyond sensuality, being the nurturer of our deepest knowledge, and women's profound psychic life force. Pornography is a direct denial of the power of the erotic, confining women to sensation without feeling. So, Wonder Woman is firmly stuck in the latter. Not only was the superheroine originally created as a dominatrix by a man with a fondness for bondage, but continues to be sexually objectified with little character development. So, for example, her clueless demeanor is married with extensive beauty that dominates most interactions, men interjecting that she is the most beautiful woman they've ever seen. Okay, so costume choices amplify this dialogue. Diana's model-like figure is accentuated in her metal bodice, thigh-high heels, and letterbox skirt. Functional and professional, right? So, in the superhero context, costume is more than a disguise, functioning as a sign of character development. But not only does this costume disguise little, it signifies that the main facet of her persona is sex appeal. So, accompanied by her shallow sense of self, this feminist icon is relegated to an object of satisfaction, divorced from the erotic charge that could facilitate transcendence. How was the director being so obtuse? She has designed a film to satisfy the man inside her watching a woman, which is Diana, and such as becomes her own voyeur. So she strips the feminist icon of her power source and civilizes her into a male fantasy. This extends into Diana's depiction as a feminist, which civilizes her into the agreeable, happy feminist who smiles and is cheerful in her oppression. Men desire a feminist who is not a killjoy but who can have polite conversations without getting wound up, so as not to distort their happy but delusional male fantasy. So Wonder Woman constructs a feminist who is set in this male gaze, not angry, bitter or aggressive, the ideal feminist. So Diana conforms to the typical superheroine whose sense of self is bodied by love, mentoring others in a passive form of kindness and compassion. So love is central to Diana's character, claiming only love can truly save the world. I mean, come on, this is magnified by her motherly and nurturing temperament, particularly towards children, right? So I don't deny the importance of love and compassion, but making it the focal point of the ideal feminist denies women's right to be angry or aggrieved about their oppression. As Lordy states, anger is an effective tool, loaded with information and energy. So a well-stocked arsenal that is an essential source of empowerment. So Wonder Woman reflects this tool, resorting to unproductive patriarchal tropes of the feminist killjoy. This is once again a civilizing act of feminism, authenticating and glorifying the male demand for the palatable feminist, demure, gentle, and kind. But what could be a bigger expression of colonial civilization than promoting a white, heterosexual, cisgender woman as the feminist hero? This introduces an immediate racial hierarchy, imitating the imperial preferment of white women over concubines in the colonies. Diana's whiteness is treated as a neutral space, so normal, so original. So that's it's the ideal blank canvas to transplant this feminist hero. And being praised as a subversive feminism, the film screams that the modern female icon is race-free. This is not covert but overt racialization. It's compounded by her cisgender, heterosexual, bourgeois identity, rejecting other feminist experiences and denying a central pillar of modern feminism, intersectionality. So that's what the feminism is. So it was clearly sees that the director and the actress have constructed a feminist hero in their own image, the white bourgeois feminist, and in doing so violated what feminism means today and the individuals who fought for it. This racialization is intensified by the film's portrayal of Black women. The few women of color in the Amazonian community are presented as speechless savages or servants. So it is one as Diana's governess, the other of voiceless black women beaten without evidence of pain. This is overt misogynoir, reproducing white supremacist tropes of black women like the Mami, who raised the master's children, and the savage, who is less sensitive to pain. These violently racialized depictions of black characters reproduce traumatic politics of slavery and its racialized power relations. It authenticates a violent gaze and denies black women's experiences and voices in feminism, and mimics colonial tropes that elevate white women and whiteness as the superior normal. So it means Wonder Woman is not just a civilizing project of a modern feminist, but ultimately oppresses the experiences of black and brown women. So Wonder Woman merely articulates everything that is wrong with mainstream feminism today, right? So women, especially black women, are continually gaslighted and civilized not just by men, but by other feminists about how to be the right kind of woman, the right kind of feminist, and whose experiences matter. So this film embodies and brilliantly champions such ideas to a new generation of feminists now created in this image. Let's move on to historicism, theory of criticism. So, to understand why Wonder Woman was to be designed as described above, it is important first to understand the era in which she was created, right? So, in the 1940s, World War II was ongoing, meaning men were fighting in different places in the world, and there was a call for women to join the workforce and, in particular, the industries, military, and other traditionally male professions working in the army, farms, as well as industries, meant that the women left their household work that had been traditionally assigned to them and joined masculine jobs. Hence, there were fears that the women would dominate men or trigger a reversal of the traditional gender roles. Also, there were concerns that women at that time would not be capable of both working and taking care of their children. Consequently, Wonder Woman masculine traits of strength and the feminine traits of hard work and empathy work together to inspire the 1940s women. Wonder Woman history was also influenced significantly by Marston's life. His inspiration for Wonder Woman was from both his wife and girlfriend. The bracelets Wonder Woman wears resembled those of Marston's girlfriend. Marston, his wife Elizabeth Holloway, and his girlfriend Olive Bryant all lived together and were considered sex radicals at the time. Marston, a feminist, believed in the ability of women to work while they managed their families, as well as how feminine traits were working in traditionally male professions. Hence, Wonder Woman fared well in masculine activities without compromising her feminine side that included love, loyalty, truth, and honesty. In Marston's ideologies, it was imperative that Wonder Woman should have the strength of Superman plus the allure of a good and beautiful woman. So Wonder Woman was first debuted on the cover of Sensation Comics #1 in 1942. In the cover, she is seen in a running pose with several men below her. She dodges the bullets shot at her by the men using her bracelets. Distributions she shied away from carrying comic books without the body's seal of approval, and therefore Wonder Woman comics no longer contain strong feminist messages. So, her transformation of her storyline, costume, and background continued through 1960s, 1970s, 1980s to the present, each time, even 2017 adaptation movie rather. So it reflecting the ideas that the society considered acceptable. So now let's move on to the last criticism. So new historicism, theory of criticism. So Wonder Woman 1984, also known as WW84, is a 2020 American superhero film based on the DC character Wonder Woman. This movie clearly sees that it was connected in the Avenger movie. So the majority of Wonder Woman takes place in 1917 towards the end of World War I. Although by this point, Diana of Themyscira is already at least hundreds of years old. The film is bookended by segments that take place sometime after the events of Batman vs. Superman, but before Justice League. Okay, so the original Wonder Woman released in 2017. So it was set mostly in 1918 during World War I, barring an opening and closing scene set in the present day and some childhood flashbacks, meaning the whole thing took place almost a century before Wonder Woman appears in Batman vs. Superman. Interesting, the flash-forward scene in this film concerning Diana's mourning for Steve Trevor Crispine are also set after 1984. So, fans may assume that Steve's storyline in Wonder Woman 1984 is also retroactively in Diana's thoughts here. So since her debut in All-Star Comics number 8 October 1941, Diana Prince Wonder Woman has appeared in a number of formats beside comic books. Genres include animated television shows, direct-to-DVD animated films, video games, and 1970s live-action television series. Wonder Woman in the 2014 CGI theatrical releases of the Lego Movie and the Lego Batman movie, and the live-action DCEU films. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice 2016, Wonder Woman 2017, Justice League 2017, Wonder Woman 1984 2020, and Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021. So she is also slated to appear in the future DCEU films such as Shazam, Fury of the Gods 2023, and The Flash 2023, and the confirmed third DCEU Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman takes place in its fairly simple. Number 1, Wonder Woman 2017. Number 2, Wonder Woman 1984-2020. Number 3, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice 2016. Number 4, Justice League 2017. So, this ordering is pretty simple, right? And it will presumably still apply when Zack Snyder's recut Justice League is released in 2021. So if we break down every different time period from Diana's life seen on screen, things get a little more complicated. So Wonder Woman 2017 flashback to Diana's youth at 8 years old. Wonder Woman 1984-2020 separate flashbacks to Diana's youth. Wonder Woman 2017 is the flashback to Diana's youth at 12 years old. Wonder Woman 2017 main story, Wonder Woman 1984 2020 main story, Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice 2016, and the Wonder Woman 2017 present day flash forward. So, right? Though we imagine this watching experience might be tricky to achieve without a few TVs running at the same time. So, there are many adaptations in Wonder Woman, right? So, it was a very nice movie. So, that's all for today's video. So, I hope you gain some understanding and learnings to my video. You gain some insights to my vlog. So thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for you to be notified to